make way, fools, for the digital DM. World record holder for most powerful BM. All the ladies love it when they see his live streams, impressed by his knowledge of D&D 5e. He's got diaries, tutorials, he's a king among men. Put your hands together for the digital DM. Actually, his name is David. Not... Shut up!
Wow, what a kick-ass intro, huh? Thank you to Harrison from the Tabletop Twats on making that kick-ass fucking intro. And he's also made an outro. I've actually got those up as individual podcasts if you want to take a gander at them or download them. So what's going on, everybody? This is the first Digital Dungeon Master podcast. And my name is David. And I've always wanted to do podcasting. I've actually been wanting to do this for quite some time, but I just never got around to it. But after being on the Wild Eye podcast with Eric and Gary, I kind of went back and started thinking about, I think I should probably start doing a podcast now. I just like the whole idea of just talking to people and talking about Dungeons and Dragons, a love that I've had for a very long time. So, like I said, my name is David. I'll be your host. I'm 44 years old. I love Dungeons and Dragons. Anybody at any age can enjoy Dungeons and Dragons. I've even had players in their 60s playing D&D with me. So, don't listen to what everybody says. Hey, that's a kid's game. That's absolute bullshit. It is for anyone at any age, and they can enjoy it. So, I was born in Mount Vernon, Ohio, back in 1973. And I moved to Florida, which is where I live now, and I have lived since 1978, when my mother and father both got jobs out at NASA for the space shuttle program. So I've been here ever since. I, was a meat cutter most of my life, and I had a midlife crisis in my late 30s. I wanted to start college, so I had a little bit of money saved up. I was an assistant store manager for Walmart. Had some cash saved up, so I had this midlife crisis and decided to, hey, I think I'm going to go to college. So I did. I just walked right in on a Saturday and quit my job, called my my DM. No, not my dungeon master, everybody. Not my dungeon master, but my DM, my district manager. And I told him the store was unattended and he needed to come and get the keys of the store and run the store because I was quitting. It was actually a huge weight lifted off of my shoulders. So I went to college. I got a degree in history. I got a degree in archaeology. And then I got a minor in religious studies and basic law. So I was busy. Instead of taking all of the fun golf classes and food classes with my friends, I was taking statistics and taking all these Gordon Rule classes. Although I did take several Tolkienology classes that were probably my most favorite classes in college. That was nothing about the lore of Middle-earth. And it was great. I love those classes. So I graduated, looked for a job for a while, and had some friends. I was playing some Neverwinter Online. And the friends that I was playing the game with, they wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons. And I was like, hey, I played Dungeons and Dragons for a long time. And I'd actually kept up with it as well. Even though I had, for the last X amount of years, I was playing EverQuest and Dark Age of Camelot. But I was still keeping up with the times with Dungeons and Dragons. I really didn't give a shit about any other game, I'll be honest with you. And that was a huge flaw that I had, but I'll talk about that later. So these friends, they wanted to play D&D. I wanted to play. Nobody wanted to Dungeon Master. And, I started playing D&D back in 1984. And when I moved to Florida and started school, I met these kids in the 4th grade. And they were, basically got me into Dungeons and Dragons. So I bugged the shit out of my mom for all these books and all that stuff. And I always told myself, I will never Dungeon Master because I saw my two friends that co-DM'd with one another. I saw all the work and all the reading that they did, and I said to myself, fuck that. I just want to show up and play the game like most other people do nowadays. So one of my friends that I met playing Neverwinter Online, they didn't want to DM. I didn't want to DM. I actually sucked it up and I manned up and I said, you know what? I'm going to Dungeon Master this game. So I did. And then the crowd started cheering. Whoa, hey, whoa. They started cheering because I didn't want to DM, but I did it because I wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons. So gathered up, I think we had like 4 of my friends from Neverwinter, Zovia, Chili, Jeff. Actually, my son got into it, and we played D&D, and also Aaron from England, he played. And we had a great time. We played for quite a while, and I had no clue about this technology stuff, this OBS broadcasting software. I had no clue about Twitch.tv. I had no clue about this stuff. I raided in World of Warcraft and Lord of the Rings Online. That's what I did. I had no time to do anything else. You know, I was a raid leader. I had to take care. I had all these responsibilities. It was like another job on top of the full-time job that I had at Walmart. And it was crazy. So one day, first off, my son got me introduced to streaming and stuff because in fact, I didn't even know it was streaming. I didn't know it was live because my friend Josh, he couldn't join us in the game and he wanted to. So he asked if I would record the game and put it live up somewhere. So we'll put it as a something that was recorded that he could come back and watch later because he just simply couldn't play. So I had my son set me up with that. And after a couple of sessions that we had been playing, my son came into my room and he said, "Hey, Dad, are you going to talk to all these people that keep asking you questions? You never respond to them." And I was like deer in the headlights. You know, I was deer in the headlights. I had no clue what the hell he was talking about. And so he set me up with the chat, and then it just kind of blossomed from there. And then it just kind of fell on my lap. And then before I know it, I have several hundred people watching my games at one time. I get offered partnership at Twitch, and I'm like, holy crap, this is pretty cool. Still trying to find a job after graduating college. So I just kind of grew the channel from there, made a website, started doing YouTube, and now 6 years later, I'm doing my first podcast. And it's been a very roller coaster ride. I mean, there's a lot of ups, there's a lot of downs. It is a very time-consuming hobby, but I love it, and I wouldn't change it for anything. I've met a lot of great people along the way. I've had a lot of fun time playing, and I've learned a hell of a lot as a dungeon master, and I have evolved as a dungeon master since the first time I started DMing about 6 years ago, and that was fun. So I just recently rebuilt my entire studio here at the house. Bought a new main gear computer with a Ryzen 16-core processor, 32 gig of RAM, 4 monitors, all 5.1 sound now. This nice Yeti microphone that you hear. Invested a lot of money into this because I just felt that the quality of what I was putting out, the visual and the sound just wasn't where I wanted it. So I wanted to, try to take it to another level quality-wise, which is what you hear now in front of you. Or I don't think you'd see it unless you will be watching this on YouTube, which I will have up. And it's my first podcast, and I'm really looking forward to doing podcasts every couple of weeks. What am I going to be talking about? You're probably asking yourself, I'm rambling on here, but I'm going to be talking about everything role-playing games. Or if you're an old-timer like me, maybe you heard the phrase or the term pen and paper game. That's what we used to call it when I was a kid growing up, pen and paper. But of course, it always reverted back to, let's play some Dungeons and Dragons. Even if we were going to play Warhammer, or even if we were going to play Talislanta, or Star Frontiers, or whatever, it was always, the code word was D&D. It's just funny the way it worked out, but I love this stuff, guys. And we're going to be talking about a lot of great stuff. We're going to be talking about all the different RPGs out there, old, new. You know, we're going to talk about all the versions of Dungeons and Dragons. We're going to talk about Savage Worlds. We're going to talk about Pathfinder. We're going to talk about Numenera, Cypher System, you name it. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to have a lot of special guests on the stream. I'm going to be having my first guest today is going to be my mother. I mean, there's no other special guest that is any higher than what you can have with your mother. And we're going to talk about everything Dungeons and Dragons, and you'll hear in a little bit. We're going to talk about what she thought of it, what she thought of my friends. We're going to talk about the sit-down that I had when her and my dad sat me down and talked about D&D, and they thought I was in some kind of fucking dragon cult and shit. We're going to talk about everything. My first guest, it's like humbling to have my mother on here. And she didn't want to do it at first, but I said, hey, Mom, it'll be fun. Just be yourself, and we're going to have some fun. We're going to have Chris Lindsay on from Wizards of the Coast. He's one of my friends that's in my Sunday Fantasy Grounds game. I'm going to try to have Doug and the guys on as well from Fantasy Grounds. I'm going to have Robert Aducci on. Going to try to have him on. And I want to reach out to a lot of other Twitch streamers, Twitch dungeon masters like Schmo, Rob2E, Encounter Roleplay. I'm going to get those guys on here. And I'm going to reach out to a bunch of other YouTube personalities. Also, Arvin Elleron, I'm sure he'll probably come on. So we're going to talk about a lot of good stuff. A couple, soon-to-be podcasts. I'm going to be having both from the Tabletop Twats. I'm going to have Harrison, who made the jingle for the intro. And I'm going to have his partner, Nick, on. Those guys are a blast. I'm also going to have the Wild Die podcast with Eric and Gary. And thanks to those guys again for letting me pick their brains on getting all this podcast stuff started. I appreciate you guys letting me soak that knowledge up from you. So it's going to be a lot of good stuff. I got a lot of stuff planned as well. I've got a lot of gameplay. I've got, 4,000 videos on YouTube, which are a lot of games. I'm going to be making those some of those MP3s, and I'm going to be putting up on the podcast as bonus podcasts. So look for those. I'm going to be doing my current gameplays of my Savage Saturdays that I'm calling it. Also, I've got an Out of the Abyss campaign diary that I do every other Thursday. I'm going to be posting those on to the podcast. I've got a great 13th Age game that I'm going to be putting up. That game actually made me evolve as a dungeon master. Because I was one of those dungeon masters that just kicked in the door, told you a little bit about the surroundings, and said roll initiative. But that 13th Age group literally made me evolve as a dungeon master. They were leagues above me, and I had to adapt. And I did. Now I'm a role-playing heavy DM, so I'm probably I'd say about a 50-50 DM. I like to say that I'm a 50-50, 50% role-play, 50% combat, and in other encounters, stuff like that. But that 13th Age game really made me evolve. I'm going to have a lot of special guests as well, as in my patrons, and I'm also going to be answering questions on Twitter and Facebook. So I've got a lot of plans for this Digital Dungeon Master podcast. All right, everybody, so enough about me. I know why you guys are actually listening to the podcast, and that's to talk to my mom. That's right, the Digital Dungeon Mom. Say hey, Mom.
Hello, how are you all?
Speak into the microphone.
Yes.
My mom is awesome, guys. And she bought me all these books and dice and all this stuff when I was a kid. And I used to bug the shit out of her about it. And D&D was a huge part of my life as a kid. And she can actually confess to that. So we have never done anything like this before, talking about Dungeons and Dragons and all that other stuff. So What did you think of D&D when I was a kid? I mean, what did you think?
Well, I always thought that it took over a lot of things that you should be doing otherwise, like going to school and not sneaking out and doing things you weren't supposed to be doing. But I didn't really know a lot about it.
I never got in trouble, though.
No, you didn't get in trouble.
No.
Just with me. That's
Yeah.
it. Just with me.
But I mean, we never went out and, stole shit.
Oh, no.
Or we never went out and, hurt anybody or
No.
got arrested or
No.
anything like that. Everything was eat shit and sleep Dungeons and Dragons.
That's right.
I mean, I'd go to school on Friday and you wouldn't see me till Sunday
Yep.
because I'd be at Terry's house
Yep.
and that was it. And it was D&D for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I mean, that was crazy. So my friends that I hung around with, and to go back on that, yeah, there was a lot of sneaking around.
Yeah.
I snuck out of the house all the time, late at night, early
Always
in the morning.
looking around trees.
No, that was Terry.
That was Terry.
That was my friend Terry.
Yep.
Because you caught one time. You caught, I think it was James.
Oh, James, baby.
James, baby. That's
Yeah.
what she used to call my friend James.
Yeah.
You caught him sneaking into my window.
Oh, yeah.
And
That was a traveling window.
it was.
Yeah.
That was the main door for me.
Yeah.
I would go out that window to
Yes, you did.
sneak out. But it's not like it's not like it's like I said, we didn't get into any trouble.
No.
We just wanted to play D&D, and that was the whole
And you did.
that was the whole shindig. I mean, that was up.
Yep.
I mean, school and everything. I mean, I skipped school every single day.
Yes, you did.
And
Called me at school and told me.
yeah, and you got
had been
letters
out for 132 days.
Yeah,
And what
it was
did
a
I
lot.
say to them? Why are you just calling me now?
because I was
because
taking all
yeah.
the mail out of the mailbox.
Yeah, oh, okay. Well, they didn't say anything about mail to me, but
Well, see, back when
I should have known that.
I mean, back in high school, when I went, you could skip and they'd still pass you.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah.
as soon as it starts getting to my junior and senior year, they start clamping down on that shit.
That's right. You couldn't be off so many days.
And I would only go to school for lunch,
Yeah.
and I would go for golf practice, and that was it.
Yep.
And
that's true.
and ROTC practice. That was it.
Yep.
But the rest of the time, I was playing D&D.
I know you were.
I mean, it was
Yep.
pretty crazy. Whether it be at the mall or, when James got his car, we would sneak over to Orlando every day to the game store over there,
Yep.
and it was right across from the Navy training base,
Jeez.
and it was called Enterprise 1701. And I remember one day we were going up there. It was a horrible day. I mean, it was raining like no end.
Yeah.
And James had this old Oldsmobile. I mean, it was a piece of... It was like Dad's car from
Yeah.
15 years prior.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a boat. I mean, it would literally destroy any car on the road now. And it popped a tire because he had 4 bald tires. I mean, it was literally like 4 Dunkin' Donuts on that. I mean, it was literally like 4 Dunkin' Donuts. I mean, there was wire shown, and one of these tires blew. And all I remember, because I was in the back seat with Franklin and Gary, and all I remember was the car spinning and
around
spinning
and
and
around.
spinning. And when we spun, it was rush hour in Orlando. And this is on...
And that's busy.
Yeah, this is Colonial Drive back when... This is in the 80s when it was only... There was like single lane,
Lanes,
double
yeah.
lane if you were lucky. And there was no big... 50-foot median between the oncoming traffic. And all I remember were these headlights that were coming right towards me. And my life flashed in front of my eyes. I'm thinking, oh my God,
did.
my parents are going to kill me if this car crash doesn't kill me. And we ended up in a ditch across from like a Chinese restaurant. And we were lucky. We didn't hit anything. And then this guy, this redneck, I guess you could say, in this huge truck, he pulled the car out of the ditch before the cops got there, and we drove away on a goddamn tire that was flat. So we had to take all our money and buy a tire so we could get back home. It was
they're what D&D.
They're one D&D. They're one a couple miniatures I could have bought or something
that's
like
right.
that.
See,
But I mean, we used to sneak out and just nonstop play D&D. So, my friends, what did you think of them?
well, I think at first I thought they were influencing you
Yeah,
to do things that you shouldn't be doing. I didn't understand D&D, so, which I probably should have got more into it.
I did bug the shit out
But-
of you though for those books.
Yes, you
remember
did.
Walden Books? Every time we
Yes.
go to the mall, I'd
Yep.
go in there.
You did.
But I don't
But I
think.
guess I thought you were doing something all right, so I bought them,
Yeah, yeah. But it was just fun.
I didn't feel like, you know,
You're so cute. This hat.
know, this
I
hat
love you,
driving
Mom.
me crazy.
You're so awesome.
yeah, that looks better. Cute.
Got to get my hair done.
Done. Yes.
Oh.
So that's it.
I don't think they influenced me per se. I think all of us kind of influenced each other.
Yeah,
Because
that's true.
if one of us didn't want to do something,
you didn't do it.
the other three would be like, dude, we are doing this.
Yeah.
Whether it be going to the park or, we used to go to Winn-Dixie and combine our lunch money and buy like packs of hot dogs. Or if it was on the weekend, we go to Crystal's because gas was like 60 cents a gallon, 70 cents a gallon.
Look what it is now.
Yeah, I know. Thanks.
Terrible.
So we used to go to Cocoa Beach when there was Hot and Now.
Yeah.
They had those 19-cent hamburgers, and then we would go to Crystal's because
Can
we
you
didn't have a
imagine?
Crystal's here. Yeah. So we used to just, and then, I
Can't
get
do
those
that
big
now.
packs of Big 60 cookies and 20-cent 2 liters of Country Miss, the cheap Winn-Dixie soda,
Yep.
and it was crazy. Heaven help the first person that fall asleep because we would just
yeah.
torture the shit out of them. That was fun. That was
Yeah.
part of D&D.
Oh yeah.
So, I remember one time, I know that, you weren't there, but there was a show on, it was with Dan Rather. It was, there was some killings and stuff like that, and it was blamed on D&D.
Yeah.
And
I remember it being on TV, but I don't.
Yeah.
And
Dad sat me down and said, "You're not playing this anymore." I guess he thought that I was part of some type of satanic cult or
Yeah.
I don't know. But he sat
Yeah.
me down and I told him this is the first time I ever cussed in front of you guys. And I remember saying, I mean, it wasn't bad. I said, "You're an idiot if you believe this. And this is total bullshit." And he cold cocked the shit out of me. But
I guess he just, they made him realize that something was this. But it's a person that's playing it.
that's
it's
exactly
not,
it.
It's not, if you take it that way, then you're going to play it that way.
Yeah. Oh,
But
beautifully spoken.
I think that, you all were smarter. That you played it as a game,
yeah.
not as
Yeah.
trying to hurt people.
We were, idiots by skipping school.
Oh, yeah. Big
I
time.
mean, because I got kicked out of school, and then, therefore Dad got mad at me for that, and other things happened
Yeah.
that we won't talk about.
No.
But we were idiots in that regard. But we never did anything bad. It was, everything was
No, you
fantasy
didn't.
about us. Everything was, our characters were so important to us.
Mm-hmm.
I played a cleric, which is like it's a healer type.
Yeah, see?
And, I would always help everybody. And then we had other people that were wizards. And we had Gary was an asshole half-orc assassin that used to bug the shit out of us until we killed his character finally.
Yeah.
And then he got mad and left.
Yeah.
But would you try playing some D&D?
I
big
don't know.
question, huh?
That's a big question because I really don't know too much about it. I'd have to try it to see.
Maybe I'll get you on here one day.
Maybe someday.
Maybe we'll roll
know?
you up some sexy elven archer or something like that. Or maybe a sexy shield maiden.
Oh, yeah.
And you can go around and squashing some spiders and stuff. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh, yummy.
Yeah, I mean, and then you get to eat them.
Oh, no.
So, what do you think of all this now?
Well, I think that it's good. You know, this is what you like. This is, you play it as you want to play it. You're not hurting anybody, and nobody's hurting each other, you know. But you always have somebody out there that will take something.
Oh yeah, serious,
and make it bad.
What like all this? What do you think of me broadcasting and doing podcasts and YouTube videos? And
I think this is good. This is what you wanted to do. You do it very well, you know. And I think that
I'll give you that $20 later for saying that.
I'll take it.
I have fun doing it. I love it. You know, this just kind of fell in my lap.
Yeah.
You know, when Nicholas, he got me into doing all of this, and he, you know, Josh wasn't going to play. He couldn't play because he had to work.
Yeah.
And he wanted to watch it, so I thought Nicholas was setting this up to record it only.
Yeah.
And then after a couple of games, he says, "Dad, are you going to answer these people's questions?" I had no clue that this was being broadcasted live, or there was a chat room. So, and then there's hundreds of people watching this at the time, and I'm like, wow, I had no clue.
Yep.
And it just kind of fell in my lap, and it's just kind of grown ever since. And now look at this. 4 monitors on the wall, multiple webcams. It's crazy.
Yep.
You're a candid camera, Mom.
Oh, I know.
You're the best guest I could ever have. Mom.
Yes,
you know that?
Well, thank you very much.
You are.
I am a good guest.
You're the digital dungeon mom, man. You are.
Okay.
So, I just want to say thanks, Mom, for coming on here, because I know that you didn't want to come on here at first. You were a little nervous, but it's not bad.
No, it wasn't bad.
But
nope, did good. You did good.
You were the best mom that anybody ever could have.
Well,
seriously,
you're a wonderful son, best son.
I'll give you 20 more for that.
Okay.
But I love you, Mom, and you are a saint.
Well,
and you should be canonized in the Vatican City one day. And I'm sure you probably will, because I'm going to fill out petitions.
Yeah, right.
I love you, Mom.
I love you, too.
Thanks for coming on. Thanks for talking about D&D. We'll get you that.
Keep watching him. He's great.
We'll get you that. Thanks. Shameless plug. We're gonna
another 20.
I'm up to like 60 now. So I'm gonna make you a sexy shield maiden, and we're gonna go bash some spiders and save Frodo. How's that sound?
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah. Your hat keeps falling off.
I know.
Your helmet.
My helmet.
Your dragon helmet. Well, Mom, cute. I love you.
I love you too.
You are the best, Mom.
And thank you for having me.
I'm gonna have you on again. We're gonna play some D&D.
Okay. Right. We'll see.
I love you, Mom.
Okay. I love you too, David.
Everybody, give it up for the digital dungeon, Mom. You hear the cheering?
Yeah.
See?
Yes.
High tech, Mom.
Whoa.
This isn't no 7-Eleven operation. This is the real thing.
Yeah.
So, all right, Mom. Okay. You can go back to your little people shows now.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thanks again. This was the first podcast for the Digital Dungeon Master with my extra special guest, my adorable mother.
That's right.
Thanks, Mom.
Thank you.
We'll see you in a couple weeks for episode number 2. And until next time, happy gaming.
Have fun.
This is the end of the program. Oh shit. Oh bloody hell. That was exactly what I said a minute ago, but expressed in a different way. Looks like I'll have to go. Yes, but where? And read a book or something.